All right, Forza Depor. All right, welcome everyone. Oh, you guys like my kind of new looking hairstyle, whatever. Welcome everyone to the El Toro show episode, I don't know, but game week 31, Jornada 31. The 31st game week of La Liga is coming up, obviously, and obviously today, as we always do on this El Toro La Liga show, we talk about and preview the upcoming games of this coming weekend. And obviously, lots to talk about, not only for the top end of the table, but also the bottom half of the table, as relegation does heat up a lot. As always, please do hit the like button on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Follow me on X on Twitter. And yeah, we might as well get started with the first game. The first game is on Friday, and it is between Valencia and Sevilla. Now, obviously, this was actually one of the first watch-longs of the El Toro show back when it was actually Sevilla against Valencia early back in January, I believe. But yeah, they play each other tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Spain time, Friday night kickoff. So some of the win probability now. Look, for one of the first times I've seen this all season, Valencia are 42% chance of winning a draw at 31% and 27% for a Sevilla draw. Now, if we look at the league table, now obviously Sevilla are ahead, but Sevilla, I'll be honest, are only 2 points ahead of Valencia, who are playing at home in the La Mestalla. Now, in my opinion, Valencia over the past few games have been really good. They obviously just beaten Real Madrid this past weekend on Saturday with a last-minute goal. So, you know, what Real Madrid did to Valencia at their ground, they did at Madrid's ground this time around. And picking up back-to-back wins for the, you know, kind of like the first time in a bit of a while, like 2 months, I would say, 2-3 months. But Valencia finally, it seems like now, like I was worried about Valencia in the first half of the season, but now they've really picked up form. That was probably that win over Real Madrid has definitely given them a lot of confidence that they will probably stay up now by the end of this season. I do think that they will now just at least trickle on the remaining 8 games they have of the season. They don't play any of the top 3 teams. So they do have a very good, favorable run of games whereby I'm not saying they're going to get Europe at all for Valencia, but at least like a respectable finish from where they started the season. So yeah, Valencia doing quite well. As for Sevilla, it's 3 straight games losing. Obviously, a couple weeks ago they lost the derby to Betis. Now, if I'm trying to remember who they lost to, they lost to Atlético. So yeah, it's not been a good past few games for Sevilla, who are only, as I said, only 2 points ahead of Valencia. But if you look at the relegation zone, 28 points. So Valencia are now 6 points clear. Sevilla 8 points clear. I don't think either of them now will get into that relegation battle by near the end of the season. I just think that they will both get just enough points, even though Sevilla have not won a game in 3, whereas Valencia are unbeaten in the last 6-7 games, I believe. So look, heading into this game, I do think that Valencia have the confidence. They have the capability of getting something in this game against Sevilla. If they do win, I think it will be the first time Valencia will get 3 straight wins. And I just feel like that momentum, that win over Real Madrid this past weekend will give them the confidence boost. So I'm actually going with I'll go with a 2-1, another 2-1 win for Valencia. And obviously we have Charlie from No Filter FC. Subscribe and obviously give out those likes. Greatly appreciated. But yeah, as I said, I do think that Valencia will get the win here. I just think that at the moment they're on a good run of form, and I do think Sevilla. Sevilla haven't been terrible, but they just haven't picked up wins, and they got 3 losses in the past 3 games. So that's why I'm going with Valencia win. All right, let me just zoom in. Next up, we do have is Real Sociedad against Mallorca. This is on Saturday, 2 o'clock Spain time kickoff. Win probability ratio, it says 53% for Sociedad, 28% for a draw, and 19% for a Mallorca win. Now, ever since Sociedad have been knocked out of the Europa League, they've been unbeaten. They've won 2 straight games in a row, along with a draw just before the international break. So Sociedad, in a way, are unbeaten and are actually now likely in a Conference League spot. So who knows? Maybe this give up of the European elimination by Manchester United might help them, and they're now a point ahead of Mallorca, who just lost to Celta Vigo in a very crucial potential European battle spot. It seems like, I will be honest, it's between teams of 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and for some reason now, even 11th place Getafe have a really good shot of getting into the Europa League or even the Conference League spots, because it does seem likely that Spain will get the extra spot from the Champions League. So for Sociedad, they're on a good run of form. Mallorca, not on a good run of form. This is a very typical look. But I actually do feel like Mallorca, they were actually pretty good, to be honest, against Celta. They just couldn't get the win in the end. And I do feel like maybe they'll spring up another surprise here. So I'm actually going to go for a Mallorca win. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. I'm going with a narrow 1-0 win for Mallorca. 1-0 to Mallorca is my prediction for the game. All right. Next up, Saturday at 4:15, we do have is Getafe against Las Palmas. Now, obviously, Getafe just come off of a big 4-0 win away, which is surprising. The fact that Getafe actually scored 2 goals, let alone 4 goals in a game, but it was against Valladolid. Like, come on. But 54% win probability for Getafe, 27% for a draw, 19% for Las Palmas win. I mean, you might as well put Las Palmas win percentage at 0, because we are coming into Easter, and Las Palmas have yet to fucking win a game. I'm not even a Las Palmas fan, but might as well say I should book my tickets to go to Palmas, because, Deportivo will probably play at their ground, Las Palmas' stadium, next season, because Las Palmas just don't know how to pick up wins. I'm now saying Diego Martinez has to get sacked. He has to leave. Like, this is crazy. I don't think this has ever actually happened, that a team has gone almost the entire, practically since New Year, without a win, and Las Palmas have been terrible now. As for Getafe, they're only really 2 points actually, but technically you could say 3 points, 4 points from European position, and obviously they have played in Europe a while ago, but they have been in Europe. So now with very decent-ish, they actually have, I'll be honest, out of the teams from 7th to 11th, 7-11, Getafe unbelievably has the best goal difference out of everyone, +5. As if that's not really going to make much of a difference, but still, that could help them out. But yeah, as for Las Palmas, I mean, they're in the relegation zone. They lost yet again to a team called Sociedad. And I'll be honest, right? It's played in Getafe, and I'll be honest, I just do not see Las Palmas winning. I really don't. I don't know what more to add on Las Palmas. I'll get to the chat as well after I give my prediction for this game, because I'm going for a Getafe win. I'm actually going for like a 3-1, another 3-1 loss for Las Palmas, and a big win for Getafe again. I'm going with that as the result. 3-1 win for Getafe is my prediction for this game. Now, before I get to move on to the next game, let me read through some of your comments. Damn, we actually have a few comments. I see your shirt. Yeah, for the Depor. Maybe your Spurs v Frankfurt prediction will be right. I have a feeling we'll get cooked. No, I said Spurs will get through to the semifinal. Yeah, we're going to talk about them. Big up to Ahmed Zia Talks. Really appreciate it. Las Palmas should hire Ange. Well, at least it's entertainment. You're shameless. True. Big up. Big up to Charlie. Even though he's cheeky in Europe right now. I own a Getafe kit. Oh, really? Oh, wow, that's nice. I wonder why, but okay, you might as well be a club of Getafe because they could be in Europe. They could play. I don't think they will anyway. They could play Bayern Munich. And big up to AD as well. So yeah, let's get on with the preview of the game, which is Celta Vigo against Espanyol. Now, obviously, as a Depor fan, I want Espanyol to win. For someone like AD or any Barcelona fan, they want Celta Vigo to win. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, both teams actually coming off fantastic wins. Win probability, I don't really like saying it, but 58% for Celta, 25 for a draw, 17 for Espanyol. But look, Espanyol, uh, yeah, I'll start with Espanyol. The away side, they picked up a huge win, a 4-0 win over Rayo Vallecano. For me, that's probably one of the biggest shocks of the season, in my opinion. Like and subscribe, no way. Getafe Ajax run it back. Yeah, I mean, well, honestly, Ajax will be in the Champions League anyway. But yeah, a 4-0 win away at Rayo Vallecano, and a few of my friends actually did go to that game at the Vallecas, Estadio de Vallecas, and witness Espanyol spanking Rayo Vallecano. That's why I'm not wearing my Rayo Vallecano shirt. I'm wearing my Deportivo shirt because we actually won a game this past weekend. We'll talk about that a bit later on the show, but yeah, Espanyol, a huge win. I know I've been telling people Espanyol will survive. They will survive relegation this season. I'm not saying next season, but this season alone, I think Espanyol are more than good enough to survive. I know they're only 4 points ahead of Leganés, but I just think that Espanyol do have the quality. And you saw that in that win over Rayo Vallecano. So I think Espanyol are safe. I'm not saying 100%. I think it will take some games for them to get that secured safety, but I think Espanyol will survive. As for Celta, I mean, they're in a Europa League spot at the moment. It could be a Conference League spot, but more likely Europa League spot. The battle for 7th and 8th, which seems like to be the European spots for Spain, for La Liga. So yeah, if Celta Vigo get into Europe, I might as well go to some European games or whatever. If it becomes like Celta Vigo versus Newcastle in the Europa League or whatever, obviously I will go to the away end, of course. But even still, if Celta are playing anyone, I'll be in the away end. You know, look, I know Celta Vigo are doing quite well for themselves. But where's the trophy? They still haven't won a trophy in their entire history, and they claim to be a bigger club. Come on. All right, but anyways, looking at this game, it's actually tough to call. Both are on a good run of form. I might go with a draw here. I'll go with a fun 2-all draw. Let's have a bit of fun. 2-all draw. What phase is the Celta manager in? Well, he hasn't won a trophy yet, but yeah, phase 1. Yeah, crazy game, the 4-0. Even the Mallorca game was quite a good game. when they play Celta. But yeah, I'm going with a 2-2 draw. I just think that it'll be quite a fun game, and I think maybe both teams maybe will cancel each other out. I can see one of them winning, but I'll go with a 2-2 draw. Let's have a bit of fun. Next up, we have on Saturday night. It is Leganés against Barcelona. This time at the I forgot the name of the fucking stadium. Because I've been to the stadium. Botate. In the Botate stadium in Leganés. They're playing against Barcelona. Let's first talk about the win probability. 11% for Leganés, 16% for a draw, 73% for Barcelona win. Now, I'll first talk about Leganés before I talk about Barcelona. Leganés, ever since that derby win over Getafe, they've only picked up 1 point in 12. 3 straight losses and a draw. Yeah, they got that draw on Monday against Osasuna, but getting a draw against Osasuna is not going to help them as much. They are now, they're only 2 points from safety, but look, they want to survive, obviously. Leganés just been promoted before. But fun fact, they have beaten Barcelona this season at the Montjuic, so don't be surprised if they could do a double. But I don't think they'll do a double. And the reason being is because Barcelona have now extended their lead from 3 points to 4 because they couldn't even beat Betis. But I wasn't even surprised that the GOAT, Anthony, cooked even without Isco. Even without Isco, Betis still did well. I mean, how are people not like people say, oh, but Barcelona? No, Betis. We'll talk about Betis. Barcelona couldn't really take advantage, so it ended in a 1-1 draw at home against Betis. But yeah, in my opinion, heading into this game, obviously Barcelona last night destroyed Dortmund. So I would say, safe to say, Barcelona are in the semifinal. They're not going to ball a 4-goal lead. Like, I know they've bought a 3-goal lead, but to ball a 4-goal lead, I think it's just too much for Dortmund. And Dortmund don't have the style of what Liverpool had when they did the remontada on Barcelona. I just don't think that way. So I think Barcelona more than safe. So I think Barcelona might actually play the strong team in this game, and I just feel like they might get another big win against Leganés. So prediction here, I'll go with a 3-0, just a comfortable 3-0 win over Leganés. I think they'll play the strongest team, and I just think it'll be too much for Leganés. So I'm going with a 3-0 win for Barcelona. But I hope, I just for the sake of it, I hope Leganés win. All right, next up, let me just quickly adjust the timing. Next up, we have is Osasuna against Girona. No filter face. Betis. Yeah, the GOAT. But yeah, Osasuna against Girona in La Liga on Sunday, 2:00 Spain time. Win probability 39% Osasuna, draw 29, Girona 32. And I'll say this: if it ain't for Las Palmas and Valladolid, these two are so, I don't mind swearing, so fucking terrible at the moment. They're both bad. They are both really bad. I don't even know who's above who. Actually, Osasuna above Girona, but it's only by 1 point. But even Valencia, who've been in the first half of the season terrible, are now even above Girona, and they're on a point behind Osasuna. Like, both of these teams, Osasuna and Girona, like, I don't even know. Like, this could just end in a draw, like a 0-0, 1-1 type of draw. That's already my prediction. I'll go with a 0-0. They're both funny enough, they're both on -9 points. Osasuna are like the draw merchants, the draw FC of La Liga. But I've not been impressed with either of them now. I don't think either will compete for the European spots. I don't think either will get relegated. This season, I've expected this from both of them, Osasuna and Girona. I remember when Osasuna were like 5th in the league. I'm like, they're going to drop off. I know it. Girona sold practically half the team, and now they don't look that good. Obviously, they lost to Alavés at their ground in Girona, so they lost to a team in the relegation battle. So yeah, in my opinion, I could see this just being a 1-1 draw. Like maybe just both teams cancel each other out. Osasuna needed a penalty to even get a point at Leganés. So yeah, my prediction on that game, I will be honest, is going to be a 1-1 draw between Osasuna and Girona. I'm like, I'll be honest. Out of all the games, I have no interest in this one. I genuinely avoid watching this. I just don't think either are that good. But what will be interesting is this next game, which is quite exciting to look forward to, because it is Alavés versus Real Madrid on Sunday 4:15 kickoff time. I'll be honest, Real Madrid probably, I think, of all the weeks they've had this season, I think this is actually the worst week this past week for Real Madrid. Disastrous week. Not only it's not super disastrous because they're only 4 points behind Barcelona. So it had Barcelona beaten Betis, maybe it would have been even worse. But Real Madrid, yeah, they lost to Valencia in the last minute. And then they got I don't want to show my culo, my ass, but they got or by Arsenal in that second half. And I don't know if I think he's still in the chat. I told Charlie, I told No Filter FC. Maybe I don't know if I told AD, but I told both of you. And actually, I think I'm not sure if I told Ahmed from Zia Talks, but I told you guys, Arsenal will beat Real Madrid. I said it, and I wasn't surprised at the slightest that Arsenal beat Real. Maybe not a 3-0 because I said 7-0 to Arsenal, but I mean they're on course to make it 7-0 if they win 4-0 at the Bernabeu. Real Madrid probably had the worst week ever. Now, it would be the most hilarious Champions League result if the second leg on Wednesday, this coming next week, Wednesday, ends 4-0 to Real Madrid. That would be I would love it. Like if Real Madrid somehow progress 3 or 4-0 win for Real Madrid and Real Madrid progresses, that would be the most typical Champions League game ever, whereby Arsenal bottle it, Real Madrid do a remontada as usual, referees get paid, maybe an offside goal from Bukayo Saka or Marino or whatever, and Real Madrid progresses. But that's besides the point. Meanwhile, let's actually talk about the home team. Alavés got a huge win against Girona, and that might help put some confidence in their team. They actually just got out of the relegation zone because of that result. Win probability 18% for Alavés, 23% for draw, 59% for Real Madrid win. Now, Real Madrid have to be careful because Barcelona, they play Leganés. You probably expect Barcelona beat Leganés. So even before Real Madrid play, they could be 7 points behind Barcelona. So I think just because of that pressure that Real Madrid will have, I think that I do think that Real Madrid will win against Alavés, even though it's been a disastrous week for Real Madrid. Meanwhile, for Leganés, they're just outside the relegation zone. That win over Girona actually got them out of the relegation zone. So they're the ones fighting for their lives. Alavés, it's crazy. But yeah, it's actually this is actually a game to look forward to because you want Alavés to win just to add the funny laughs and all that on Real Madrid. But for Real Madrid, it's like, what's their response from that spanking by Arsenal? Which I know people said, oh, they were surprised it happened. I'm like, I was probably one of the few people that wasn't surprised Arsenal won. I'll be honest, Charlie knows, at least Charlie knows that I said 7-0. I know it ended 3-0, but still. But yeah, I said Real Madrid to win this. I would say Real Madrid to win this game. I think they will concede, but I just think maybe they'll pay the referees or whatever. I'm going for a 3-2 win away for Real Madrid, a 3-2 win for Real Madrid. I think that'll be my prediction for that game. Real Madrid 3-2 over Alavés. That'll be my prediction. Next up, I think this is the game of the weekend. This is huge because it is Real Betis versus Villarreal for almost certainly, I wouldn't say 100%, but almost certainly. Whoever wins this, I'll be honest, is probably getting Champions League football. It is the GOAT, Anthony, against Villarreal, who have like Baena. Actually, Jose Perez goes back to Betis to play against his old club. I don't know if you actually saw it, but this is look. I'm actually doing a watch long for this game on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Spain time because I do think this is whoever wins this. If there is a winner, I think gets Champions League football because I feel like the momentum will actually go in their favor, continuing that. And I just feel like for both of these teams, I feel like it's going to be huge. Win probability 41% for Betis, 27% for a draw, 32% for a Villarreal win. And I'll be honest, look at the table. I know right now it doesn't say that fifth place gets Champions League, but it's almost certainly. Real Betis are unbeaten in the last 8 games. Villarreal, unbeaten in the last 2 games, but at least they're on a decent run of form that they're trying to pick up now. They got a draw against Athletic Club, so that was a crucial 0-0 draw. Quite entertaining 0-0 draw, but still. And it means that this game, I know Villarreal have a game in hand, but if Villarreal beat Betis, that might actually secure Villarreal's spot in the Champions League next season because they do play Espanyol next, or in that game in hand they have. Whereas Betis, if they win, you just carry on the momentum, Betis, because they don't have to play Real Madrid or Barcelona anymore. So, and Villarreal, they still have to play Barcelona, and who knows what that will be by that time, how the league is like. But yeah, I don't know how to feel about this. This is look, I'm doing a watch long for this game because this is going to be a huge game. I know it's happening at the same time as the Newcastle United versus Man United game, but I'm like, I know the result in that game. Like, I don't really mind. This one, I cannot call it. I generally do not know how to call it. But because this club has the GOAT, Anthony, the GOAT, Goatini, meh, I'm going for a 1-0 win for Betis. I think Anthony will score. I'll go 1-0 Betis. Why not? The GOAT to deliver potentially now Champions League football for Betis. And it's been, I don't even remember if Betis have ever played Champions League football. This is their best ever chance of getting Champions League football. And I think they do not falter it in this game against Villarreal. It'll be funny if they lose like 5-0 now. But I'm going to say 1-0 to Betis. Anthony, the GOAT, will score and be a match winner for Betis. That's my prediction for that game. Now, next up, we have here is Athletic Club against Rayo Vallecano's Athletic against Rayo. Now, obviously, win probability 57% for Athletic Club win, 26% for a draw, and 17% for a Vallecano win. Now, let's first talk about Athletic Club, the home team. They're unbeaten, but obviously they play later tonight in the Europa League against Rangers away, so they have a bit of traveling to do. They got a 0-0 draw against Villarreal, maintaining that 6-point gap between them and the Europe or potential Europa League drop down. But they're also 6 points behind Atletico Madrid. So, yeah, in amongst it, it does seem like Barca, Real Madrid, and Atletico Madrid will get Champions League football for sure. It's a 12-point difference now, even with that game in hand. And Athletic Club, I feel like, are more than likely confident of getting Champions League football. I feel like if they win this game against Rayo Vallecano, and if they do beat Rayo Vallecano, that will definitely hurt Rayo's chances of getting not Champions League, or getting a form of European football. Basically, I do personally. I want Rayo to get European football. I think that'll be great. Um, but you look at the record of Rayo this season: 10 wins, 10 draws, 10 losses. Look, they had a good run of form before they lost to Barcelona like a few months ago, but now they've not really had a good run of form, Rayo. And that's definitely hurt them. And especially that home game where they lost 4-0 to Espanyol. Not That was probably one of the worst performances I've seen from Rayo. I think probably the worst ever this season from Rayo Vallecano. That wasn't unlike them, but obviously they can get themselves back into some sort of form if they were to get a result here away at Athletic Club. But look, I feel like for Athletic Club, it's going to be a bit of a mix because they're in the Europa League playing against Rangers. They want to get the results that most likely could push Athletic Club at least to the semi-final, play either Manchester United or Leon, whoever it may be, if they do make it past Rangers in the two legs. So, look, I think I wouldn't say Athletic Club aren't going to take this seriously, but I do think it'll be a narrow game, and I also do think that Rayo will at least put some respect in their name after that 4-0 loss. So I'm going with a 1-0 for Athletic Club. Maybe someone like Sanchez or Iñaki or even Nico, but Nico hasn't been that good in the past couple games. Who knows what could happen tonight? But I'm going with a 1-0 win for Athletic Club. I think they'll just maybe one bit of quality might shine through for Athletic Club. So I'm going 1-0 Athletic Club. Now the final game of the weekend. The final game of the weekend with the live chat. And big up to Ryan G as well. I'm doing quite well. Just finished one of my I take classes online. So I finished that just before doing this show. But yeah, anyways, I'm doing well. Atletico versus Valladolid. I don't know what I need to preview here. I mean, Valladolid are shit. Not the city, but the club. This shit. Look, win probability. I don't know how you should be putting 100% Atletico. Here it says 5% Valladolid. Mate, just put 0%. Like, this is the most predictable game of football. And a draw at 11%. Like, Valladolid are one of the worst La Liga teams I've ever seen. They're worse than like Deportivo when we lost like 8-0 to Barcelona all those years ago. I know I'm like a very new-ish Deportivo fan, but even I knew that 8-0 loss was embarrassing by Depor in Alcudia at the Area 4. But Valladolid are just like a new low of shit. Like, they're really bad. Like, I'll talk about Atletico, but look at Valladolid. Like, 4 wins in 30. Yet somehow they have more wins than fucking Southampton, which is crazy. And yeah, you're saying 3-0. Look, I think it could be like, you could even say like 8-0, 6-0, 7-0. I really think Atletico could actually just pile on the goals on this Valladolid defense. Like, I really do not see any way that Valladolid even tried their best. Like they're gonna lose another game here. They're gonna lose their 23rd game of the season. I know that. So look, to be honest, I could. You know what? I don't really predict big scorelines, but this is Monday Night Football, a game whereby like Atletico want to at least put some pressure on Real Madrid. If Real Madrid don't win, then obviously there's pressure if Barcelona somehow don't beat Leganés, like how they did earlier this season. Then Atletico could be pushing back. And Atletico's one of games, I know it looks unlikely that they're going to win La Liga, but Atletico's next few games are winnable. And this is probably the most winnable game of the season. Like, Valladolid at home is the most winnable game you can ever have this season. And I'm going for a 6-0. I'll go 6-0. I really do not think they'll probably still Valladolid will probably still beat Leicester and Southampton. Like, as a Newcastle fan, we've done the double over both Leicester and Southampton. Meanwhile, Tottenham could even beat Leicester. I'm like, the other day, I'm like at halftime of the Newcastle Leicester game, where it was already 3-0 at halftime, I really got so bored I didn't even watch the second half. Like, I knew it was going and a win for us, so who cares? But yeah, I'm going with a 6-0 win in this one. I really, 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 really do not think that there's going to be any other result in this game. I really don't think there will be a result that would help Valladolid. I really don't think so. So I'm actually going for a 6-0. Like I could see it like Julian Alvarez doing something spectacular or whatever. 6-0 Atletico. It's one of the first times I predict a huge scoreline, but I'm going 6-0. But yeah. All right, now obviously that's all the games of La Liga we have previewed, and now obviously, as always, it is now time for the Toro de la Semana, the Bowl of the Week. Who is basically the best player of the weekend? There's a couple of players, but because they got that win over Real Madrid and saved the penalty, I'm going for Mamadashvili. He was really good in that Real Madrid game. Practically, I know Hugo Duro scored the winning goal, but practically helped Valencia got that win against who do you call this? Real Madrid. So I'm actually going for Mamadashvili as the El Toro de la Semana. That he's my pick for that. Now let me just quickly put this back up. If I get it there. All right, now it is time for a little. Obviously, the last part of the show we are talking about is the Segunda, the La Liga hypermotion, hypertension. Lots of hypertension here in the Segunda. But yeah, game week or match day 34 has ended, and there's only now, I believe, like 8 games to go. So here's the results. Castellon got a 2-2 draw against Alavés on last Friday. Eyeball man, or anti-eyeball man, got a 1-1 draw against Real Oviedo. So not a good result for Oviedo, trying to get into the playoffs for sure. Cartagena lost to Eldense, and this result is a big one. I'll show you why. Almeria lost to Granada. Both teams obviously were in La Liga last season, and Granada have really helped themselves with that promotion playoff spot potential. Tenerife get yet another win. 4 wins in 5 for Tenerife, and Tenerife were looking almost certain for relegation. Now they have an outside chance of safety. Meanwhile, for Sporting Gijon, Jesus Christ, Asturias is in the mud in more recent times. Both Gijon and Oviedo. And I do know a couple people from Asturias, and well, they're not Sporting fans, they're Real Oviedo fans, so they're kind of happy with this. But yeah, not good for actually both Asturias clubs. Real Zaragoza, meanwhile, actually got a win over Miranda's, which is probably the most surprising result, which really hurts Miranda's opportunity of being in the top 2 automatic promotion. This was another big one. Levante getting a huge 3-1 win over Racing Santander. Obviously, Levante lost last week, or the week before, against Almeria, I believe it was. And they got a big win over Racing Santander. Burgos getting a 2-1 win over Huesca. Another Andalusian matchup. Malaga losing against Cordoba in that one. And obviously, Deportivo La Coruña, we got another win. Finally, back-to-back wins. Finally, kind of like last minute, but we did win the game against Cadiz. So we actually done the double over Cadiz. So that's good. The last time the other game, we beat them 5-2 at their ground. Lucas Perez, last ever goal, you could say, for the club. And Elche beating Racing Ferrol in probably the most predictable win of the season, along with beating Cartagena. But yeah, before I show you guys the table, here's some of the games to look forward to. You have Cordoba against Levante tomorrow night at 8:30. Look, both these teams searching for something. Levante currently hoping they can get back into La Liga. You also have Zaragoza against Eibar. That's going to be a decent, good one. Zaragoza want to build on that win they had last weekend. Tenerife play against Burgos, and probably this is going to be a Tenerife win now. I'll be honest. Cadiz play Elche. This is a tough game for Elche, but Elche, you'll see, on top of the table. You have Real Oviedo play against Racing Ferrol. I mean, if you can't beat Racing Ferrol, you do not deserve to get into the promotion playoff minimum. That being for Real Oviedo. Albacete play Granada. You have a decently big one. Racing Santander have to really bounce back. They have to play Castellón at home. They would probably expect Racing to win. Mirandes re-travel to Miranda de Ebro. It's Mirandes against Deportivo La Coruña. Earlier this season, when we hosted Mirandes, we lost. We actually lost 4-0 at home. So it's the funniest thing. That was just before Christmas as well. That was the funniest thing ever, because we beat Castellón like literally the game before, like a few days before. So yeah, hopefully we could get some revenge on Mirandes. I cannot believe we still lost 4-0 to Mirandes, but yeah. Hopefully we get a win. I don't know. Look, here's the thing, right? For us, Depor, for some reason, we're actually on a good run of form. We're unbeaten in the last 6 games. 3 wins, 3 draws, though. But look, at least we're not losing, but we'll probably lose this. Who knows? And then you have Dan's playing Sporting Gijon. This is probably, I would probably say, the game of the weekend. You'll see why. Almeria play Cartagena, and probably the most winnable game as well. Huesca play Malaga. Tough game, that one, on Monday night, 8:30. Now, I'll show you guys the table, if it appears. All right, now let me just zoom in. All right. Hopefully this is good. Jesus Christ, show me the table properly. All right, here we go, people. Here we go. Let me show you the top 8, because the separation is a bit there. Here's the top 8. Now remember, the top 2 get automatic promotion. 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th get into the playoffs. Everyone else, nothing. Elche and Levante are currently in the top 2. They have a bit of a gap now between them and the playoff chasing pact, because everyone in the promotion playoff spots all didn't win a game, which for the case for Elche and Levante have really helped them. So you could be expecting at least, I feel like at least one of them, Elche or Levante, I'm not saying both, but I think one of them, I feel like, may just carry on their form and get automatic promotion now. I feel like. I think there's beginning somewhat of a separation, but hopefully Elche and Levante lose, just so that it gets interesting. Racing Santander on 3rd in 59 points, 3 points behind Levante, who they lost to. Mirandes only a point behind, played Deportivo, as I said, or in 4th. Real Oviedo, 1 win in like 5-6 games. They're in the playoff spot at least. Huesca in 6th, but 4 losses in 5 is crazy. Almeria also bad one. Like Almeria and Granada are close by, and they're both out of the playoff spots, but obviously, 8 games to go, who knows? So practically it seems like the top 8. However, there's a chasing pack that are actually on a good run of form. You scroll down, right? Maybe we'll scroll, maybe with the playoff spot, 54 points, right? 54 points at the moment is the playoffs. Burgos are only, 5 points behind. Cordoba are 6 points behind. Deportivo La Coruña, we are 6 points behind. Albacete are 7 points behind. So yeah, there's actually teams that are now chasing the pack. Like, this could actually be crazy how the final maybe 2-3 promotion playoff spots could actually come down to the final 2-3 games. But yeah, Granada 2 points behind Huesca in the playoff spot, basically. Burgos on 49. Cordoba and Deportivo La Coruña, we are both on 48 points. Albacete on 47. But you look at the form of teams from 8th, or actually not even 8th, from 9th to 12th, like Burgos, Cordoba, Deportivo, and Albacete. Like only one loss for Albacete. We haven't lost a game in 6. Cordoba, only one loss in the last 5-6 games. Burgos, for some reason, have somehow picked up form, and now they have a chance of getting into the playoffs now. They were not that good, Burgos, early on. Now they picked up like 4 wins in 5. So yeah, now there's a chasing pie for even the playoff spot. Who knows? So yeah, that's probably the top 12. You also have Eibar on 46 and Cadiz on 45. It seems like both of them will survive, but I don't think both will get into the playoffs or get relegated. So now it's really between the teams from 15th and below. I think, as I said, the relegation is from 19th place. So 19, 20, 21, 22. 4 teams get relegated from the Segunda. I think it will be one of these teams that you see on screen. You have Castellón, you have Malaga, you have Sporting Gijon, you have Zaragoza, who are the teams just above the relegation zone, but the relegation zone is from 39 points with Eldense. If Eldense win, they jump above almost all these teams, which means that there's some danger. Tenerife, look, 4 wins in the last 5. Now they have somehow a chance. They have a chance of getting into safety. They're only, I know they're 9 points, but the form that Castellón, Malaga, Sporting Gijon, and Zaragoza are in is worrying for a couple of these teams now. Like Castellón haven't won a game. Malaga 4 losses in 5. Sporting Gijon, I do not know. They were in the playoff last season. Mate, they are bad. Zaragoza just got a new manager bounce, but still bad. Eldense, they had a manager bounce. Now they've picked up form. And then you have Tenerife somehow picking up wins when they're almost likely to get relegated, but they are now putting up a fight. Oh, and after this weekend's games, Deportivo replay Tenerife at home. You probably know what the result will be for Tenerife. Meanwhile, if anyone fucking cares, Racing Ferrol and Cartagena are fucked. I do not think either of them are going to pick up anything. Like, the fact that Racing Ferrol have 18 goals and Cartagena 22 goals, they're both really bad. I sometimes, like, unless Deportivo play either of them, if you want to watch teams score goals against them, beat them, you can watch their games. They're both of these teams, Racing Ferrol and Cartagena, are terrible. They're both terrible. I'll be honest. Like, don't be surprised if they lose on the weekend as well. But yeah, that's my that's the Segunda Division, or the La Liga hypertension review. So now I can stop sharing. So that concludes the show, the El Toro show, La Liga show. Now, obviously, in terms of live watch longs, I will be doing Real Betis against Villarreal on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. Spain time. I'll put that, I'll schedule it in or whatever. But yeah, it's been a good show. We actually had a few people come on to the show and have a bit of a good chat. We had Charlie from No Filter FC. We have Zia Talks, Ahmed. We had AD744. We have Ryan G in the chat as well. So actually, we got a few people. So it's greatly appreciated. Hopefully, the El Toro show actually builds up momentum. Maybe not this season, but hopefully next season. When we get hopefully new teams. Hopefully somehow, if Deportivo are in La Liga next season, fantastic. But for now, it's been a very good show. I really enjoyed it. And obviously, as I said, the next time I'll see you guys is the live watch long of Real Betis against Villarreal on Sunday, 6:30 p.m. kickoff. So, and it's still sunny. Like, it's 25, 26 degrees. It's probably like 24, 23 now, 22 probably. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the El Toro show today. I guess the last chat, big up. Good luck on getting to 1K. Yeah, hopefully. Look, I'm not trying to push it, but I guess, try to get me to like maybe 700. Small baby steps. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 237. But yeah, big up to Ryan G, and smash up the likes. So finally, please do hit the like button on the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Follow me on X, on Twitter, whatever. And as I said, I'll see you guys in the next one when I do the live watch long of Real Betis against Villarreal, and the last one. It's been sunny here last 2-3 weeks in England. Don't know what's happening. Yeah, same thing here in Spain. Though tomorrow here where I am, it's going to rain as usual because it's Galicia. But yeah, until then, I will see you guys in the next one on Sunday for the GOAT watch long. Anthony. Peace.